Hi there. I'm out in the Mimbres Valley today taking a look at land with a client who's thinking about buying it. And I thought I would use this opportunity to talk to you about some of the important things that you should be thinking about before you buy land. Those three things are: 1, a survey; 2, water rights; 3, septic. Before we get started, for those of you who don't know me or have not seen my YouTube videos before, my name is Cecilia McNichol. I'm a real estate broker with Hacienda Realty in Silver City. Let's take them one at a time. Let's talk about water rights first. This is a unique property in that it's in the valley bottom, and there are no structures on this property. However, there is an old historic well. So what does that mean to the buyer? Can they use that well? Do they need to get a new permit? How do they do that? Well, in this case, the well is probably an old hand-dug well from the early 1900s, and it's not functioning. So that means that they'll need to drill a new well. So during the due diligence period, now that we're under contract, it would be wise to speak with a well driller and get the historical information about this well. It might be that you have to just move it a few feet over because it's so old it might have caved in, or the casing isn't good, or it's just not deep enough. In which case, you'll have to apply for like a brand new well permit. So when you buy property and there's no water already developed on it, such as a well with a pump in it, then the Office of the State Engineer will allow you to apply for a domestic well permit. That's usually 1/3 of an acre. So that's what will have to happen here. This property also comes with something called surface water rights. This is in the valley of the Mimbres River. And these fields have been managed for a long time, flood irrigated. And so this property comes with an additional 2 acres of surface irrigation water rights. And they are called senior water rights because they were in place before the state adjudicated the water, which is a fancy word for saying that when the federal government turned over the management of water rights to the individual states, that date becomes the adjudication date. People who were using water prior to that time and have those water rights, those are known as senior water rights. Anyone who was to acquire surface water rights after that time, those are junior water rights. This property comes with senior water rights, and they are more valuable because they have a higher priority. For example, if the river water level were to get low, the people on the upper end of the river who have the most senior water rights get to use that water first. And if the water runs out, then maybe the other people don't get to have any. That would be really important if you were growing crops. But down here, it's usually just grass hay for horses or cattle. But still, senior water rights have a higher value. Okay, the second thing to think about is septic. You probably wouldn't want to build a house down here in the floodplain, but you might want to build your house up here on the hillside behind me. In which case, you'd be wanting to talk to someone who was knowledgeable about septic systems, because where would you put it? You wouldn't be able to run, or might not want to run, your septic line underneath this roadway, because this is an easement, a dedicated easement to the next neighbor's property. So you might have to have an advanced system. There are different kinds, like there's wetland systems or advanced treatment systems. They can be more costly. So you would want to talk to an engineer who develops these systems, and also to the state office, which in this case is the New Mexico Environmental Department, and ask them what kind of a septic system that you'd be able to develop on this property, and where would it be allowed. That's the second one. And the third one is a survey. Now this property has some corners marked on it We can see them off in the distance with white stakes, but that doesn't mean that we know exactly if that's correct. And getting a new survey is a really inexpensive way to reduce your risks. You don't know what you're buying out here until you have a survey done. There are some stories that I can tell you, but a short one is that a person was going to buy a piece of property in an area that had been subdivided into what was considered residential lots, like they were 5 acres each. And they had done their due diligence, gone out and looked around, and they figured out that the people who owned the property next to them were residential type people. They were going to build a house. So they didn't think that anything peculiar was going on with that land. But I convinced them that they should get a survey just to make sure. So they did. And what we found out on the survey was quite surprising. In the last 30 days, prior to closing, the parcel that was adjacent to them had been bought by a large mining company. That meant that their neighbor now was the mine, and the mine could do whatever they want. That was unrestricted rural land. They could park equipment there, they could do whatever they wanted. And on top of that, there was a road easement, a lot like the one that's on this property right here behind me. This road goes to the neighbor. Right now, this seems pretty innocuous. I mean, there's no mining company back here. But on that other property, there was a road just like this, right through the top of the property. The potential buyers didn't think that that would be of any consequence because it would just be residential traffic, maybe 1 or 2 cars a day. But now that the mine owned the property next to them, that meant that the mine could be bringing in any kind of equipment they wanted to any time of night or day. That was only discovered by getting a recent survey. So that's a pretty good story about why you should get a survey, but anything could come up. So it's a small investment, a small cost to protect your investment. That's the 3 things that I want you to think about before you're buying land. And if you want to buy some land out here in Grant County, I'll be here to help you and be happy to do so. So you can reach me by texting me at 575-574-8549. You can find me on my Facebook page under Ceci, that's C-E-C-I, McNicoll, M-C-N-I-C-O-L-L, or on my website, which is Silver City NM for New Mexico realestate.com. Again, Silver City NM realestate.com. Thank you very much for stopping me in and watching this video, and I hope that I've helped you in your potential purchase of land here in Grant County. Thanks again. See you later. Bye.